To many people, the term logo system will be something new to them. To others, they'll have heard the term before but aren't quite sure what it means. So what is a logo system and should you have one? When most people think about logos, we think of one logo, one that never changes, one that we see all the time in the same form. In other words, it's consistent across all of the brand's identity. And consistency is something that we're told is very important when it comes to brand. It's a message that I give to my clients. Consistency, consistency, consistency. And there really is nothing wrong with using the same logo all the time. It builds familiarity, recognition, and awareness. But what if we're missing a trick by just having that one logo? What if we had a logo system? Let's take a look at some logo systems to give you a better idea and a better understanding of what I'm talking about here. The first one that I want to look at is the logo system for MTV, music television. And this goes way back to the 90s. This is when I first became aware of logo systems. Even though at that time I didn't know what a logo system was, I could just see this thing appearing on my TV. It seemed like every time I tuned into MTV, their logo looked different, but I could still instantly recognize it as the MTV logo. They had the big M and then they had the little TV up in the corner. But what they'd done was they'd given artists and designers and animators free rein to take their logo and do what they wanted with it. But the recognition still had to be there. People still had to be able to say, that's the MTV logo. Some crazy stuff was done with that logo. And most of the time there was no specific meaning or purpose behind it. It was just something crazy to do, something crazy to animate, because music television was all about videos, and catching attention. So for MTV, this was perfect. But it is an early version of a logo system. Move on a few decades, and logo systems are now more sophisticated, and meaning and purpose play a large part in them. Let's take a look at some logo systems that were designed to deliver messages directly through the logo itself, where things like vision, philosophy, cause, and even just marketing are visible. But where, very importantly, that underlying logo shape is still there so that the audience recognizes the brand instantly. If you use the internet, which I'd imagine most of you do, especially if you're watching this video, you'll recognize this next logo system. It's the Google Doodle. Similar in some ways to the MTV approach, where different artists get to play with the Google logo, there's a purpose behind the design. The change is there to promote things like a good cause, an invention, a famous person, or an anniversary, among others. There's no supporting information, there's no tagline or text snippet, just the Google logo with a new look. The next logo system we're looking at is the one for Hillary Clinton's 2016 US presidential campaign. This is an example of a logo system that needs to communicate with the different beliefs, loyalties, and concerns of potential American voters. The main logo is a simple but bold letter H incorporating an arrow pointing forward. But as we can see here, it is a perfect container for adapting various images and illustrations to communicate ideas to the intended audience. And for the last logo system I want to show you today, we're going to go with DC's logo system from 2012. And that's DC Comics. I'm a bit of a comic book geek, so I had to kind of put this in here. This system helped DC to showcase their different comic book characters by adapting the C to reflect the costumes of the characters, which would be instantly recognizable to any DC fan or movie buff who likes watching superhero movies. This was really clever. I liked the idea of being able to utilize logos to showcase the different characters or IPs that DC has as a brand. I really liked that. In 2016 though, they actually ditched that logo system and created a new logo for the brand. It's a shame because I really did like that logo system that they brought out in 2012. I'm not entirely sure if they maybe still use it in some areas, but I kind of hope they do, because it would be a shame to just lose that altogether. So should you use a logo system then, or should you stick to having just one logo? Well, before you jump in and think, yeah, I want a logo system because there's so much more I can do, there are some things that you should think about before you take that leap. Number one is, do you have the budget? With one logo, you have economy of scale. You're only having to create printed materials with one logo on, or create some digital video with one logo ident. If you have a logo system, you're going to have multiple versions of your logos, which means multiple things you're going to have to produce, which will probably require multiple times the budget. This leads on to number two, your brand's products and services. Do you have just one service or product? Or do you have many that could benefit from a logo system where each of them has their own logo, which is derived from your main logo, but you change it up a bit? When it comes to a logo system, generally you're breaking boundaries with your brand and breaking the boundaries that people are expecting of brands. You're going to be different. But that's the thing with logo systems, you are trying to be different, you're trying to get noticed. So if you've got that adventurousness about you and the bravery with your brand, then a logo system may be right for you. Are you targeting many different audiences? Would having a logo which is specific to that audience be useful to you? A logo system might help. When it comes to embarking on the creation of a logo system, be under no illusion, it can be a monumental amount of work, depending on how many you want to create. But for any brand that's willing to go on that journey, then the rewards can indeed be great. I'd like to thank you for getting this far and learning a bit more about logo systems. I hope you found it useful. If you have, please make sure to give the video a like, give it that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and make sure you click the bell icon and you'll be notified whenever I release another new video. And that's it for now. Until I see you next time, stay creative, folks.